Hi, Sunil, Dr. Sunil. Friends, today we are going to talk about conflicts. A bad subject, a subject which create a lot of problem within the organization, between couples, between the people who are in relationship. And if these conflicts are not solved properly, they might end up in the breaks up and in the organizational context. When there are disagreements, when there are conflicts, it has a lot of bad effect on the quality, productivity, and teamwork. If you see properly in a psychological context, whenever two people in the world by the name of any relationship meet, they develop a working equation. They work very well. But over the period of time, they start disagreeing on many issues, and this disagreement leads to the conflict, and the variation of the behavior and the attitude starts. It happens in organizations, social relationship, business relationship, or any place where the people meet and interact. Let's resolve conflict because it hurt both personally and professionally. Primarily the question is, why this agreement? If you look at the conflict management is the process of limiting the negative aspect of conflict while increasing the positive aspect of the conflict. ये तो स्वाभाविक है कि दुनिया में जब भी दो लोग मिलते हैं, उनकी बातों में, उनके एटीट्यूड में, उनके बिहेवियर में, उनके वार्तालाप में कुछ भिन्नता तो होती है, because people are primarily different. And that's the reason the disagreement boils down to a conflict. दौर गलतफहमियों का सिसकते रहे रिश्ते, काश तो लोग समझते, कभी सामने से गुफ्तगू तो करते, दो लोगों में बातचीत का कम हो जाना, एक दूसरे को अवॉइड करना, इग्नोर करना. This adds to the conflict and it doesn't resolve the conflict. The aim of all conflict management is to enhance learning and the group outcomes, including effectiveness or performance in an organizational setting. Primarily, if you look at the conflicts, there are 7 types of conflicts which we suffer. The first conflict is man versus self. These are the conflicts within us. These are the conflicts where many a time we are not agreeing to ourselves. These are the time when in our behavior and attitude there is a variation. Now these conflicts are within you, and only a person who is going through these conflicts can solve it. The second type of the conflicts are between men and men. Then you have a disagreement with other person. Later, in the next few steps, we are going to talk about the strategies, how to solve these kind of the conflicts, which are in fact maximum in the society. The third type of the conflicts are between men and the society, when either you are not agreeing to the societal norms, values, behaviors and attitudes, and it creates a lot of problem. Then there are the conflict between man and the nature, and what is happening these days, or what has happened in the past, the way the humanity has raped the nature is trying to repay it in the same coin. Then there is the conflicts between man and the machine, robotics, IT intervention in most of the places. There are a lot of the conflicts between man and the machine too. And the last but not least, the conflicts are the man between and the fate and the destiny. आपके कर्मों का खेल है. वो जो बैठा है ऊपर, वो निर्धारित करता है किस तरह की ज़िंदगी आप जिएंगे. किस तरह के कर्म आपने किए हैं और उन कर्मों का क्या फल है. It's all destiny and the karma rule. But one fact remains there. Whatever strategies you adopt, how intelligent you may be, how sagacious you are, but conflicts are inevitable. विवाद हैं, टकराव हैं, ये तो होते हैं, होंगे भी. When there are the people, there always be a conflict. If you look into the managerial context, managers have to deal with the conflict in a workplace every day. Let's define a working relationship of a conflict. Conflict managers is the ability to able to identify and handle conflict sensibly, fairly and efficiently. Conflict defined. Conflict management is the practice of being able to identify and handle conflict sensibly, fairly. कभी भूल से भी फुर्सत में मेरा ख्याल आए, कभी भूल से भी फुर्सत में मेरा ख्याल आए, हो सके तो बस थोड़ा सा मुझे याद करना और अपना ख्याल रखना. Everyone is striving to show how valuable they are to the company, to the organization they work for, and at times this can lead to the disputes with other members of the team. Let us discuss some of the consequences of the conflict. It is important because unmanaged conflict can have expensive legal consequences. People seek litigation as the way to resolve disputes. Managing conflict is important because high level of negative conflict can cause employee dissatisfaction, attrition, bad effect on the teamwork, lower quality, lower productivity, lower efficiency, and it creates the overall profit management of the company. बस प्यार की रवायत सीखी, रंजिश नफरत आशनाई से कोई सरोकार नहीं. बस प्यार की रवायत सीखी, रंजिश नफरत आशनाई से कोई सरोकार नहीं. दिल में बिठाया जिसे एक बार, तो फिर उसे चले जाने की कोई बात नहीं. Let us discuss the causes of the conflict at the workplace. Primarily, it is the personality of the people. People come from the different backgrounds or cultures, have their own beliefs and values. If I take an example of my classroom situation, whenever I look at 16, 17 or the 80 participants sitting in front of me, I find out, because of the Indian diverse culture, many a time people are from 7 to 6 states. They speak different languages. Their behavior, their customs, their value systems are different. But primarily when they come to the organization, they have to work in a commonality. And all these people have to make efforts to reach the common goals. बुझी बुझी सी राख है, क्यों शोला ढूंढते हो, दफन करके जिंदा इंसानों को, दफन करके जिंदा अफसानों को, फिर आप उनकी रूह ढूंढते हो. Different style of working. I have said many times that the people are different. Each one of us is a special edition of the God. Each one of us has our own personality makeup. We are different because we have been brought up in a different way, in different culture, with different parent. Your parenting is very important as far as the formation of your personality is concerned. When people expect other people to work in the same way as them and don't respect the fact that everyone works differently, it creates a lot of frustration and hinder the complication of the projects and the tasks. दिलों में घोंसला बनाना सीखो जनाब, दिलों में घोंसले बनाना सीखिए जनाब, जरूर तो सब करते हैं, मन में जो है बता दो ना, मन में जो है बता दो ना, कहीं देर ना हो जाए. The third very important organizational factor is the bad communication chemistry. Misunderstanding in communication create problem and issues if remains unsolved for a prolonged period of time, and the ongoing miscommunication deteriorate the progress of the work. A very important fact which create a lot of problem, and I've been observing for the decades now, it is the lack and the paucity of the resources. Paucity of resources create a lot of interpersonal and cross-departmental conflict. Lack of support from the top. People struggle to complete the job role if they aren't given the technical, physical, financial, psychological, and even the emotional support from the top, from the manager, from the leader. Working in a stressful situation, such as a confrontation, they will feel worse if they aren't able to receive emotional or the moral support from the leader, and will feel like workplace doesn't care about their well-being. गलती करो तो पछताओ ना, गलती करो तो पछताओ ना, बस इससे कुछ सीख जाओ. Lack of customer service. People need to know how to deal with queries and then complaints in a way that leave customer feeling. Quality of management is very important as far as the resolutions of the conflicts are concerned. It is important how content and able to personal feel in that role. And what I feel personally, the role of the leadership is very important. Without a strong leader, people lack direction and goals, and thereafter motivation, which lead to the dissatisfaction and bitterness towards self, toward colleague, and toward management. Next very important point, which I personally have been observing as an interventionist for the last so many years, it is the bad organizational culture. A culture which is not supporting the people, a culture which is not supporting the people to develop effective, efficient teams, a culture where people are treated in a favoritism, and each leader has their own favorites, and when the favorites work in this direction, it creates a lot of problem. The question is that leadership is very important, and my feeling over the year has been this is one of the area, particularly in the Indian context, the leadership is very weak. In fact, I was discussing with someone, whenever I am interacting with a group of 20 managers, I found that more than 50, 60 or even 70% people don't have the leadership skill. But then somebody asked me then how they became the manager. They became the manager because they came with an MBA. They become the manager because they came with a BTech. And they started at the higher level. But my feeling is, over the year when you are growing in the organization, people should make the effort through the training, their self-efforts, self-development techniques, and keep on updating their managerial and the leadership style. There are contractual complications also. People are left in the dark about their role or don't feel it is valued or accommodated. They feel at times angry at the management and potentially any colleague who are well accommodated. There are organization jealousies, there are organizational distribution of resources among the people, and one person always has the feeling that one is treated less as compared to the other. Now let's talk about managing conflict at the workplace. First and the foremost person is, let's talk to the people. मैं मुस्कुरा के देता जो तू मेरी जिंदगी मांग लेती. मैं मुस्कुरा के दे देता जो तू मेरी जिंदगी मांग लेती. तूने तो क्या साजिश की, मेरा गुरु छीन लिया. Sitting across the table and opening the avenues of the communication many a time solve the conflicts in a much easier way rather than the intervention of a third person or the third party to be brought in between to resolve the conflict. Second most important part is the focus on behavior and events, not on the personality. Even if there are chances, even there are avenues that somebody has not done so good, people primarily, instead of castigating, arguing, and belittling the behavior and the events, people start belittling the personality and the people, and it hurts the people a lot. Listening is very important, but listening empathetic is equally important. In a conflict situation, let two parties sit together and listen to each other. What exactly are the focus areas and what are the points which are creating the conflict? Identify points of agreement and disagreement. It is very important to identify on the various areas we are agreeing, on the various areas which we are not agreeing. किसी दिन साथ बैठ के तेरी मेरी खातो किताब का हिसाब करेंगे. किसी दिन बैठ के साथ तेरे खातो हिसाब करेंगे, बस माफ़ कर देंगे और तेरा और मेरा दिल साफ करेंगे. Prioritize the area of the conflict. Since there is a whole gamut of conflict in the organization, prioritization of conflict management is very, very important. What are the areas which are to be addressed first? What are the conflict areas which are damaging more interpersonal relationships? What are the areas which are having bad effect on the quality and the productivity of the organization culture? And later on, we can always take up those conflict too, which has the lesser impact. Developing a plan to work on each conflict is very, very important. In fact, in the organizational context, nothing is possible if it is not properly planned. Many times, people walk out from the conflict situation. मेरी रुखसती का अंजाम तेरी फितरत बनी. मेरी रुखसती का अंजाम तेरी फितरत बनी, वरना हम तो दिल खोल कर जिंदगी भर तेरे साथ देने का आगाज लेकर आए थे. Follow through your plan. If you have a plan and it is in an implementation process, then the follow-up is very important. In fact, I have been telling now for the years. Somebody asked me what is the sign of a good manager. I remember when I was very young, one of my general manager told me that, Sunil, the most beautiful part in your working is if you take up a issue, if you take up a project, you keep on following it up at each step of its progress until the issue is not solved. And I always say the people are good who can follow, but most of the people, they issue 5 instructions, and after the 5 instructions, they forget to follow up for 4 of them. And other people are enjoying because manager is not asking what happened. Well, gentlemen, we have discussed some of the organizational strategies. Now let us discuss some of the strategies people adopt in managing their conflict. And the first and the most important is the accommodating. It's primarily a step toward buying peace. One person voluntarily agree to give to the other person what he wants. तू मांगती तो मैं मेरी जान दे देता. तू मांगती तो मैं मेरी जान देता. तू एक बार ठहरने का मेरे साथ वादा तो कर. This is the policy of accommodating at whatever the cost. तेरी चाहत के धागे भी इस कदर पक्के निकले. तेरी चाहत के धागे भी इस कदर पक्के निकले, तू साथ भी नहीं, और देखना हम अकेले भी नहीं. The second strategy people adopt is avoiding. People simply avoid or ignore that there is a conflict. Normally, people who are lesser assertive, lesser proactive, and sort of living with a feeling, a not okay feeling within themselves. Many times they are the introverts. They are escapist and they want to escape from the situation. And the best way they adopt is stop looking at the conflict, stop avoiding the conflict. बस खाली कोरे पन्नों की मेरी किताब, बस खाली खाली कोरे पन्नों की मेरी किताब मेरी खामोशियों का तारुफ करती है. This amount to running away and keeping the conflicts under the carpet. Third very important area people adopt is collaborating. People come across the table and work together, collaborate for a creative solution for all conflicts. They add to the expertise and want to come out in a win-win situation. In fact, if you look into the dynamics of the team synergy, if you look into the total dynamics of the team effectiveness, this is one of the best strategy when people start collaborating. The fourth very important point is people start compromising. People compromise on the stand. There is a lot to give, surrender in the bargain. Both sides decide to curtail their claim, so a peaceful situation can be found. In order to have the healthy relationship, we all compromise. Today, the focus of this talk is purely on the organization. But if you look on the interpersonal relationship between the people, between the couple, between the friends, many times we compromise. When I want to be with you, I start adjusting. But when somebody else wants to be with you, then we start compromising too. कोशिश कर रहा हूँ आजकल, कोशिश कर रहा हूँ मीठे झूठ बोलने के हुनर, कड़वे सच क्या बोले, कितने अपने छिन गए, कितने अपने चले गए. The fifth point and the strategy in conflict management is the competing. This strategy is normally adopted by the highly assertive people and the people who have one aim in their life, that they are going to win at any cost. Whether the cost is organizational efficiency, damage to the organization culture. These people are very selfish, egoist, and their one aim is always to keep themselves one step higher from the other person. Their working paradigm is very simple, win-lose situation, and every time they intervene, they have only one objective, that I want to win, another person lose. Well, friends, we have taken up a very vital subject. If you really ask me from within my heart, my total career in the training, maybe more than 60 to 70% focus has been on the team working, leadership and the conflict management. If we are in a position to manage our differences, if you are able to thin out, reduce the areas of disagreement, whether it is a social life, friendship, between couples, a lot of things can be managed. Many a time I compromise, many a time I compete, many a time I collaborate, and many a time I just want to win-win situation. I remember Eric Berne when he said there are 4 strategies in the life. There are the 4 attitudes in the life. First is I win, you win. I think one of the best strategy. If you adopt it, you remain healthy. Environment remain healthy and the relationships are very sweet. Second strategy is I win, you lose. Now these are the egoist people whose only aim is to keep an upper hand and keep on winning, and ensuring that in each confrontation, in each equation, the other person loses. Third strategy is I lose, you win. This strategy is primarily adopted by the weak people, non-assertive people, non-proactive people, people who are on the introversion side. They don't offer themselves, they don't put a claim on their rights, and they take it, the life as it has come. And that strategy is very bad. It is a depressive strategy when a person decides that I am going to lose and I will ensure that you too will lose. Well, gentlemen, this was all about conflicts. This was all about the conflict management. But towards the end, I would say nobody in the world today, till today, has totally minimized, marginalized, or buried the conflicts. The fact remains, whenever they are going to be the two hands, they are going to be a sound of a collapse. And whenever there are two people, they are likely to agree and they are likely to disagree. And that's primarily, we never use the word solving the conflict. We always use the word, let us resolve the conflict in such a way that our relationship, our working relationship, remain smooth, whether it's between couples, between friends, between organization, between the organizational team, and between the various culture. Thank you for being with me, friends, once again. I think we touched the subject. If you have any suggestion, please give some feedback so we can improve. Until then, it was nice to be with you. Thank you.